WPDE News Channel 15 presents the first annual All-Zone Awards. Now, from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach, here's WPDE News Channel 15 Sports Director, Rich Crampanis.
Good evening, I'm WPDE Sports Director Rich Crampanis, and welcome to our first annual All-Zone Special, highlighting the 40 outstanding players in the PD in the Grand Strand. We're here at Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach, where we're celebrating what was a great high school football season all the way around the state, but especially right here in the PD in the Grand Strand. And certainly with the great tradition of high school football here in South Carolina, it only seems fitting that we start a tradition, and that's the All-Zone team. Every year we'll select the top players in the area to make up our All-Zone team. Culminated later in the show, we'll be presenting our first ever Zoneman winner, and we have three tremendous finalists: George Goss from Conway, Tony Ransom from Marion, and Tymere Zimmerman from Marlboro County. Throughout the evening, we'll be checking in with Mark Haggard, talking with some of the area's coaches. Mark's standing by now with one of the legends, Bob Rankin of Marion. Mark?
Boy, you sure said that right, Rich. Bob Rankin has won 306 career games starting at Rock Hill in 1958. But Coach Rankin had another year where he took his Swamp Foxes to an undefeated regular season, winning another region title. Coach Rankin, talk to me briefly about this special team this year for the Swamp Foxes.
Well, we had quite a few excellent seniors on the team and some good underclassmen as well. People worked real hard. Things just fit together for us, and we had good senior leadership. So, we were real pleased with the season. We were not pleased with the way it ended, but, all of them are going to end somewhere, and the only people, I guess, that were happy were the ones that won in the state final. But we were real pleased with it.
Over 40 years of coaching, what has changed over the years, and what hasn't changed?
Well, some of the things that hadn't changed, we still have good quality young people. We work people hard, and I'm sure every other coach in here works people hard. Some of the things that have changed is we have more distractions. We have lots of other things that young people can do today, but we still have lots of committed young people who love to play the game of football.
Coach Rankin, thanks so much for joining us. Coach Bob Rankin, he does everything at Marion High School. He even does the laundry. Offered to do my laundry one time, Rich. Bob Rankin, we consider him a friend, and so do most of the coaches in this room tonight. Rich?
Thanks a lot, Mark. Couldn't agree more. Without any further ado, let's meet our 2000 All-Zone team, starting with the quarterbacks and running backs.
Dillon's Nathan Smith helped guide the Wildcats to a second-round appearance in the Class 3A playoffs. The Wildcats signal caller did it with his arm and was fleet of foot as well, often breaking big gains for Coach Jackie Hayes. Smith is heading to the North-South game as a wide receiver, but we'll keep him on the All-Zone team as a QB. Lake City's Jason Weaver is heading to Columbia next fall to play baseball for Ray Tanner and the Gamecocks. But Lou Holtz might be talking to the Panthers quarterback after a spectacular senior campaign. Weaver led Mickey Moss's bunch to a 9-1 regular season mark and was not afraid to take off to the zone. Mullins quarterback Justin Woodbury was the second leading passer in the state, racking up 2,412 yards. That statistic alone is amazing, but what makes it even more mind-boggling is the fact that the Auctioneers General was out for 4 weeks of the regular season with a hand injury. Woodbury had 16 TD passes and 4 rushing scores and 312 yards on the ground, all in just 6 regular season games. King Bennett was regal in 2000. The Manning Monarchs back had 1,500 yards rushing and 19 touchdowns. Short games turned into long touchdown runs when Bennett had the pigskin. King did it all, from special teams to 2 touchdown passes on the halfback option. Lake City's Jermaine Burgess racked up 1,117 yards on the ground. The Panthers feature back as just a junior, giving Mickey Moss and company an already rosy outlook for 2001. Walter Davis was the lion that roared in 2000 with 1,540 yards and 156 points scored. The converted quarterback proved to be one of the top offensive producers in the state. When Davis got loose in the open field, Loras fans were treated to a thrill each Friday night. The workhorse of our backs is Raphael Ford. The Marion grinder averaged 5.1 yards per carry and 9 touchdowns. For his career, he has over 1,700 yards rushing and 25 scores. Sherrall's Alex Gaston is the Barry Sanders of the PD. The junior was the 6th leading rusher in the state with 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns. Many opponents had him stopped for a moment, but found out the hard way how tough it is to stop this explosive back. Our fullback is the rugged Matthew Williams, whose most underrated skill is blocking. But the Hannah Pamplico senior is best known for his bruising runs. He racked up 1,117 yards and 16 touchdowns in helping the Raiders to a perfect regular season.
This is quite a group, quarterbacks and running backs. Jason Weaver from Lake City, how would you like to work with these guys in the backfield?
It'd be unreal to have any of them. I mean, it's just, they all have great talent. I'd give anything to play with any of them.
Your football career's coming to a close, playing in the North-South game on Saturday. From there, it's baseball. Talk about walking away from football.
It won't be too hard to walk away because, I mean, I love baseball, but, I mean, playing football this year has been the ride of a lifetime. It's been fun. I mean, don't regret it at all.
Thanks a lot, Jason Weaver. This is quite a group. When we come back, we'll meet our wide receivers and tight ends. And that's when our 2000 All-Zone Special continues here from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach.
The first annual All-Zone Awards is brought to you by Wendy's.
Welcome back to the 2000 All-Zone team. Coming up later in the show, we'll learn a lot more about the Zoneman and the 3 finalists. But first, Mark Haggard is standing by with the most famous coaching pair in South Carolina high school football.
That's right, Rich. We're talking about the Boyd boys. Well, men. J.R. Boyd and Dean Boyd, first Marlboro County's Dean Boyd. A lot of people don't realize that you coached under Louis Lineberger for several years and had a couple of state titles there. You learned so well that you won your own state title a couple of years ago, and 3 years at Marlboro County and 2 region championships. Talk about this year's team and how special they were.
Well, they really were special. A bunch of overachievers. The guys went out and played hard every day, and we had some setbacks, but they continued to play and work hard, and we're just real proud of them.
And you weren't just all about Tymere Zimmerman. Certainly he was a centerpiece on this team, but you had others that were great.
I think they played real good team ball. I mean, we're going to miss Tymere, there's no doubt about that, but they played well together, and I think that's the key for our team and our community. And if we can continue to do that, we should be okay. But it's going to hurt losing a player like Tymere Zimmerman.
And you have a brother, too, that's pretty darn good. In fact, I think he's got the bragging rights at the dinner table come this Christmas, and that is J.R. Boyd of the Lamar Silver Foxes. You made it to the state championship game.
Yes, I did, but as far as bragging rights, I need to be first in line first. That's the big thing. That's the great honor. There's 8 of us, and to be first in line at the dinner table that's what you want to be. Our kids played great this year, and we're just proud of our kids and the community.
Dean, he gets teased a lot about being young. You had a quick story about getting on the bus one time.
Oh, yeah. The players had to get on one bus. The managers had to get on another. The bus driver, Dean, was the last one to get on the bus. He got on the bus where the managers were getting on. He was getting on that bus, or the players were getting on, and the bus driver told him he couldn't get on that bus. The managers were on the other bus, so they told Dean to go back to the other bus.
It's great to be young and a Boyd. All right, Rich, back to you.
No question it'll be a great holiday season for the Boyd family. Let's take a look now at our wide receivers and tight ends on the All-Zone team.
Darlington's James Charles was a 3-way terror: offense, defense, and special teams. Whether he was running back a punt, making the big play on D, or catching the tough slant, Charles was a versatile weapon for Gerald Harrison's Falcons. Mullins' Gerard Gerald is heading to Georgia to play for Jim Herrick and the Bulldogs, and that disappointed a handful of top collegiate football programs. Gerald racked up gaudy numbers, leading the state in interceptions with 11 and grabbing 1,203 receiving yards. Gerald had 2 touchdowns on special teams and a defensive score as well. The sensational senior finished 5th in the Zoneman voting. Lamar's Derek Higgins is the best wide receiver that no one's talking about. Marcus Fox and Higgins proved to be one of the state's top duos. Higgins racked up 854 yards and 104 total points for the Silver Foxes. He's also one of the state's top DBs with 5 picks. When Loris needed a clutch touchdown in 2000, they turned to this man. Tyrone Jacobs made big plays in big games, none bigger than the Lions' regular season finale victory over Carver's Bay for the region crown. Demetrius Sanders joins auctioneer teammate Gerard Gerald in the receiving corps. Sanders had 27 grabs for 559 yards and 3 touchdowns. Zoneman finalist Tymere Zimmerman capped off a stellar 4-year career at Marlboro County with a tremendous senior campaign. He topped the 1,000-yard mark with a highlight reel full of circus catches. Tommy Bowden can't wait to see Tymere in Clemson orange and white. Myrtle Beach's Brandon Fry got the job done on both sides of the ball. He was a defensive presence on the line, but the big guy also showed some soft hands at tight end. Johnsonville's Justin Smith showed that he was no flash in the pan. Smith had 109 tackles on defense, showing his wares as a top linebacker, but also was an offensive menace, whether it be at fullback or tight end. With 8 catches for 105 yards and 2 TDs, we feel just fine putting him in at tight end.
Our running backs, we can run and grind out on this team, but we can certainly throw the football. Derek Higgins, 20 catches for 294 yards in the state championship game, representing this area more than just fine. What was it like playing on the big stage at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia?
It was fun. We went out there, played our game, did what we had to do.
A lot of people might have said that Lamar was surprised to be in the state championship game, but I have a feeling that you guys were pretty confident. Maybe talk a little bit about that and your quarterback, Marcus Fox, who threw you a lot of great balls this year.
Marcus Fox, he was a good quarterback. He was a little short, undersized, but he was real good. And he threw a lot of passes. And I was just catching.
Tell me about this group behind you here. How would you like to be running routes with these guys?
It'll be fun, but, you know, a lot of competition. I might be jealous. And then they punked out and put me up in front of everybody. We still cool, though, everybody. We still cool.
Derek Higgins, great season. And when we come back, you know, this team needs some protection. We'll take a look at the offensive line and defensive line of our all-zone team when we continue our 1-hour special from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach right after this. Welcome back to our all-zone special from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach. 2 local teams made it all the way to Columbia for the state championship. Mark Haggard is standing by with the head monarch, Barry Avant.
Yeah, that's right, Rich. We already talked to Lamar head coach J.R. Boyd. His Silver Foxes made it to the state championship, and Barry Avant of Manning also going to the state finals. Coach Avant, a special year for your Monarchs.
It was a very special year. We're very proud of our players. They accomplished a great deal. I don't think many people thought that we'd get there, and we're very proud and happy for our young men.
Now, you've only been at Manning for 4 years, and you made the state finals twice.
That's correct. You know, Manning's a great place to coach. We have some outstanding players, a great community, and we've just been very fortunate also.
Give me away a few of your secrets. How do you do this year after year?
Like I said, you have great players do it, and to me the secret is just putting the players in the right places, to getting them in the right positions where they can do what you ask them to do.
Coach Barry Avant, and he is a pipeline to both South Carolina and Clemson. He's sending a lot of them there, and maybe a few more on the way. Rich?
You got that right, Mark. We'll meet one of those future Clemson Tigers coming up a little bit later in the show in Manning's Travis Pugh. But for now, we take a look at the beef of our team, the offensive and defensive line.
Pamplico's Brian Benton made the holes for the Raiders' versatile running attack. The senior was a first-team All-State selection by SCPrepFootball.com and was credited with 26 knockdowns. Our center is Myrtle Beach's Boomer Creed, who was the starting point of the Seahawks offense. Creed was just one part of one of the biggest offensive lines in the state. Darlington's Richie Gandy started his 2000 season by making his collegiate plans known. The future Tennessee Volunteer is equally impressive in the classroom with 1,200 SATs and a fixture on the honor roll. Justin Parker is an all-state performer. The Conway Tiger helped make holes for super sophomore and 1,200-yard rusher Melvin Singleton. The senior stands 6'1" and tips the scales at 292 pounds. There's plenty of size on this O-line. Lake City's Joe Walker tops 300 pounds, but showed the speed and agility that's so important to be a good lineman. Walker opened up plenty of room for the Panthers' running attack. Dusty Williams is a 2-time All-State selection. The Lakeview Wild Gator was Jewel McLaurin's top lineman on both sides of the ball. Zach Farley is an unheralded defensive lineman for Shane Williamson in Carolina Forest. Farley was just one of a number of Carolina Forest defenders that proved to be stingy week in and week out. Zoneman finalist George Goss is one of the nation's most ballyhooed recruits. Goss has been featured on ESPN as well as recruiting rankings throughout the Southeast and nationally. Goss will be a big prize for a Southeast collegiate power. Robert Geathers Jr. is getting collegiate interest of his own. The Carvers Bay Bear with NFL bloodlines was Nate Thompson's quarterback, but his future is on the defensive side of the ball. Marion's Tony Ransom is the third Zoneman finalist. The Swamp Fox can explode at the line of scrimmage, and at 6'3", 221, he has the speed to chase down any offensive threat with 7 sacks and 14 tackles for a loss in his senior year. Leo Reed was the anchor of the Georgetown defense. The seniors attracted major college powers hoping to have this Bulldog on campus next fall. James Scott joined Tony Ransom as the Marion bookends on D. The University of South Carolina-bound defensive end had 8 sacks in the regular season and 12 tackles for a loss.
I'm just going to line these guys up at the station, and if ever I need some time for a sportscast and somebody says, no, you don't have time, I'm just going to run behind these guys. Richie Gandy, you're going to get a taste of this in Tennessee, but this is some huge line here.
It is. It's tremendous size. I wish we all played on the same team. We'd have went to state for sure.
Talk about the Tennessee Volunteers. Philip Fulmer paid a visit to your house last week. It must be a thrill to know that the coach is paying that much attention to you after you gave a commitment to come by and take a visit with you and your family.
Yes, sir. It's good to know that, that they're still interested, and even though I committed, they're still keeping in touch regularly. It's good to know that they're just like family to me now.
All right, Richie Gandy, just one part of our offensive line. A little bit later in the show, we'll touch upon Tony Ransom and George Goss, 2 of our 3 Zoneman finalists. When we come back, we'll meet the rest of our 2000 All-Zone team. And that's when our 1-hour special continues from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach. Welcome back to the 2000 All-Zone team. 40 of the best high school football players in the PD and the Grand Strand. I'm Rich Krampanis. The Mullins Auctioneers have something to boast about. They have the most All-Zone members with 4. Mark Haggard standing by with Air Cromer.
Yes, they call him Air Cromer. Denver Cromer of the Mullins Auctioneers. 2 years at Mullins. He has a 19-6 record, and he just keeps rolling out the region championships. He made it 3 deep into the playoffs. This was a special team this year.
It was a very special team, but I don't know how long that Air Cromer is going to last. I'm losing some really good players. I am fortunate 2 of them are coming back, but it's a tribute not just to these 4 young men, but to our entire team.
Let's let everybody in on this Air Cromer business. It's because you pass the football so much, and why do you do that?
Because I have great receivers and a great quarterback, and I hope that can continue for the future, but who knows?
A lot of basketball players at Mullins High that he has put into the football and making it fun at Mullins High by throwing the football. Rich?
No question about it, Mark. Mullins is going to be awfully tough on the hardwood this winter. Let's take a look at the rest of our 2000 All-Zone team.
Marlboro County's Kevin Bethay was a key cog in the Black D. Bethay was the 5th leading tackler in the state with 165 stops. He had 2 sacks, 34 solo tackles, and 3 fumble recoveries. James Breland was the centerpiece of the Hemingway defense. Breland was a relentless pursuer, leading the Tigers with 94 tackles and the ability to make the big play. DeAdrian Coley was much more than the Carvers Bay tailback. The senior was an unheralded linebacker. Like teammate Robert Geathers, college recruiters have their sights set on the defensive Coley. Tyke Green is representing South Carolina in the Shrine Bowl. The Carolina Forest linebacker is also an SCPrepFootball.com All-State selection and a finalist for Mr. Football of South Carolina. Latta's Chris Page paced the Vikings defense with 115 tackles, including 2 sacks. Fans are more familiar with the running back who racked up 8 touchdowns, but coaches across the state agree that Page is one of the state's most underrated linebackers. Wilson's Julian West has the ultimate linebacker frame. 6'4", 215 pounds, and a blazing 4.5 in the 40. He had 103 tackles and 4 sacks for Darrell Page's Tigers, along with 3 fumble recoveries and 14 tackles for a loss. Mullen's Carlos James is the 4th auctioneer on the All-Zone team. The defensive back had 8 picks for Air Cromer, who boasted one of the best secondaries in the state. High school football fans know Tony McCray for his signal calling on the Marion offense, but he was a tremendous defender as well. He makes the All-Zone team in the secondary, where he had 54 tackles and 4 interceptions in his senior year. Travis Pugh is leaving Manning for Tommy Bowden and the Clemson Tigers. The 2-time All-State selection has been regarded as one of the best defensive backs in the Southeast. Rondell Waiters is just one reason that Timminsville went deep into the postseason. The SC Prep Football 1A All-State selection rounds out a secondary that you don't want to throw on. Jason Regan is the All-Zone kicker. The Hartsville Red Fox was 21 of 22 on PATs and 5 of 7 on field goals, highlighted by a 48-yard boot.
Certainly, you do not want to throw on this group here. Linebackers and secondary, tight green. Later on tonight, you're going to find out if you're Mr. Football. So you've got the honors rolling in left and right. This must be an exciting time for you.
Yeah, it's been an exciting year for this team. It was a growing experience, too. So it's been fun watching all these players around the state and in our region and stuff. So it's been a fun year for me.
So you got a little bit more football, but you're also playing basketball for Carolina Forest this winter. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, basketball, I just play that to keep me in shape, and I like to do it. So, and fortunately, I was able to make it on the team. So it's just something for me to do.
Make it on the team. This guy's good for about 16 to 20 every night. When we come back, we will take a look at the season in the postseason, the 2000 playoffs, plus much, much more when our All-Zone special continues from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach.
The first annual All-Zone Awards is brought to you by Wendy's.
Welcome back to the 2000 All-Zone team. We just met the 40 players that make up one heck of a football team. Now it's time to reminisce on the 2000 season. And one of the moments of 2000, the Hannah Pamplico Raiders. Mark Haggard standing by with Stan Draughty.
Boy, Stan Draughty and his Hannah Pamplico Raiders finally getting past an old bugaboo. They finally beat Lakeview in 25 seasons of coaching, the last 12 at Hannah Pamplico, and you finally beat Lakeview, and you made an undefeated run in the region, winning the region title.
Yeah, it was a great season for us, and you know, we had a good many outstanding players, and they made a commitment at the beginning of the season, and they stuck by it, and they stuck by each other, and we had a great year.
And you were Region Coach of the Year.
Well, that was quite an honor, but it was an honor for our team and our players.
Yeah, you had some pretty good players, didn't you?
Yeah,
You're going to lose some fine seniors, but probably one of the top returning juniors in any classification you'll have returning next year in Corey Groover.
Yeah, that's exciting to have Corey back, and we got some other players back, but we do lose 14 good seniors that contributed a lot, and they were a close-knit group, and you know, we won't be able to replace all of them, but we'll get some young kids ready to go, and we'll try it again next year.
All right, Coach Stan Draughty of the Hannah Pamplico Raiders. They made quite a run, ran the table, went undefeated during the regular season, Rich. And Corey Groover just very well may be a Zoneman finalist next year, Rich.
I'll tell you what, he's on my short list for next season. Corey Groover, one of the best. He'll be a senior next year. Keep an eye out for him. Mark Haggard now takes us through the 2000 postseason.
The Conway Tigers and the Marlboro County Bulldogs were the only Area 4A squads to make the playoffs. Conway made a strong showing before making a first-round exit. Marlboro County scored wins over Malden and Burns before losing to Aiken in the semifinals. In Class 3A, 7 teams from the PD and the Beach made postseason appearances. The Marion Swamp Foxes had one of their best teams ever. Marion went undefeated until the state quarterfinals and this 13-9 loss at Camden. Manning took care of Camden by shutting out the Bulldogs in the semifinals as Coach Barry Avant's Monarchs earned a trip to Columbia against Union in the 3A championship game. In the title game against Union, Yellow Jackets receiver Roscoe Crosby led the way as Union defeated Manning 28-12, but not before the Manning Monarchs put up quite a fight, finishing as State 3A runner-up for the second time in 3 years. In Class 2A, 7 more area clubs made the playoffs. Mullins scored 116 points in the first 2 rounds, knocking off Chapin and Palmetto before losing to Batesburg-Leesville in the upper state quarterfinals. In the lower state, brand new Carvers Bay High made a statement. Nate Thompson's Bears bounced #1 ranked Pelion before losing to Silver Bluff in the lower state semifinals. The Loris Lions had one of their best squads ever. They made it to the lower state semis before bowing out to Barnwell. In Class 1A, 11 teams made it to the lower state playoffs. Defending state champion Timminsville put on a late season surge, making it to the quarterfinals. But top-ranked Hannah Pamplico knocked off the Whirlwinds 13-12. The HP Raiders had a perfect season until Lamar pulled off this 28-13 upset in Pamplico. J.R. Boyd's Silver Foxes then faced 96 in the 1A state title game. Lamar quarterback Marcus Fox throwing for 358 yards, most of them to wide receiver Derek Higgins, who had a memorable performance that included some unbelievable catches. Higgins caught a state record 20 passes for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns, as Lamar put up a furious rally before losing 42-34 to 96 High.
20 catches in a game. I never heard of that. Tell me about that a little bit.
Hopefully, I'm saying I just went out and played the game. Just try to catch the ball, try to win.
The WPDE News Channel 15's End Zone congratulates both Lamar and Manning for making it to Columbia, and to every one of the 27 area playoff teams.
One of the great things about South Carolina high school football is the fan support, and the fans played a big role in tonight's special. Over 1,800 high school football fans came onto our website, WPDE.com, to vote for the All-Zone Fan Awards. Without any further ado, here are the winners.
George Goss intimidates against South Florence.
By the name of Dusty Williams. Look at that hit. He nails the running back from Latta cold. Yeah, that's a candidate for hit of the year. Woodbury again looking for Gerard Gerald. Look at this play. Is he tackled? Well, one time he is, 2 times he is. You give Gerard Gerald an inch and he's going to give you a spectacular touchdown. Gerard Gerald.
Gerard Gerald takes it away from Timminsville. Adrian Felder blocks the punt and gets 6. Brandon Poston goes 99.5 yards against East Clarendon.
Every game we go home and we watch the End Zone, and we seen that thing on TV, and then right after we seen that, we got on the internet and found out about all that voting and stuff, and then Mama started telling people, and I told some people at school, and it just started getting around.
Like Thursday, when I found out that I've been on the internet, so the next morning, I went on the internet and I saw my name there, and Brandon, my other team, my quarterback, so I started voting for him and me and some other people.
Justin Woodbury, the Mullins quarterback, the incredible numbers in just 6 games. What was it like throwing to that guy, Gerard Gerald?
Well, all I got to do is get it to him. He turned little passes into big plays.
The internet voting, did you guys realize that everybody at Mullins was jumping on the computer and voting for you and Gerard?
Yeah, we kind of figured that because the teachers, they would sit in the classes, go on the internet and vote for us.
That must have been really nice to know at school was supporting you guys in so many different ways.
Yeah, we got a lot of fan support this year, and we really appreciate it.
Justin Woodbury, the Mullins quarterback, one of the All-Zone fan winners. Gerard Gerald took home 2 awards. That's the new All-Zone record. When we come back, we'll meet the 3 Zoneman finalists. That's when our 1-hour special continues from Damon's Restaurant in Myrtle Beach. Welcome back to our 2000 All-Zone special. We're about to meet 3 special young men. They are the 3 finalists for the Zoneman Trophy. Mark Haggard has a profile of the 3 men looking for the coveted crown.
Meet Conway's George Gause. He's a two-way starter for the Tigers at defensive end and tight end. At 6'5", 245 pounds, Gause is a menace on the football field. In his junior season, he was the top-rated tight end in the nation on Max Empfinger's highly respected recruiting list. Gause averaged nearly 23 yards a catch this year with 3 touchdowns. Conway head coach Chuck Jordan says Big George has been a joy to coach.
I think the thing that separates George is the person, and that's what makes him so special to me, and I think to this community, because people recognize the way he carries himself. His teammates surely appreciate his humble attitude. He never has asked for a lot of recognition or been real comfortable with the limelight. And nonetheless, it's been thrust upon him, and I think he's handled it well.
It's a pleasure playing for Coach Jordan and all the coaches here and playing for Conway High School and doing the best I can do to represent the school and the football team.
Aner head coach Marty Jacobs says he's fortunate his Blue Jackets didn't have to face Big George.
Most impressed that I was with George was in the region strength meet at Conway last year and the state strength meet. You see his physique and his size and height, but his strength and ability to jump and run was real impressive. He's definitely a Division I player.
Gause is a 3-sport star. He's won the state 4A triple jump championship as a freshman, sophomore, junior, and is going for another title this spring. He's also a talented basketball player. Gause, who power cleans 305 pounds, is known for his defensive prowess in football, leading the Tigers with 89 tackles and 9 sacks.
One of my goals was to lead the team in tackles and sacks, and I set both of them, and I think I had a great year this year.
The thought that he's played his last football game is really somewhat of a humbling thought for me, because he's made us look like good coaches in a lot of situations just because he has played the game so well and has represented himself so well. And we're going to miss him, I promise you.
Gause says Tennessee, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, and Clemson have made his short list in colleges he's considering. Next up for Big George, an invitation to the Shrine Bowl, December 16th. Marion High's Tony Ransom is regarded as one of the premier defensive ends in South Carolina. The 6'3", 215-pound senior is a two-way starter. He's also a lethal blocker from the tight end position. Opposing coaches have plenty of respect for Ransom.
If you want to talk about the best player, it's the kid that does everything well, and he does everything well. You'll be hard-pressed to find a player who prevented more touchdowns and caused more people to not score touchdowns than Tony.
Boom! That'll make him say, ooh!
Ransom earned News Channel 15 Defensive Player of the Year honors as a sophomore. Head coach Bob Rankin will remember more than just the football player, Tony Ransom.
I remember most about Tony Ransom, the human being. That what a gentleman he is, and what a nice young man he is, how courteous he is, how nice he is. As a football player, I remember that he always went all out every play, that he was a team person.
Ransom had 100 tackles this season, including 16 stops behind the line of scrimmage. He also recorded 7.5 sacks, helping the Swamp Foxes into the 3A lower state semifinals. Perhaps his most impressive stat is 6 blocked kicks this season. But Ransom is a team player, not interested in numbers.
I put others first before me, and I respect people. I treat them like I would want to be treated.
He lost his mom about 7 years ago. My mother raised him. She wasn't able, but she raised him. I think he did a terrific job, and he turned out good, and I'm very proud of him.
He's mild-mannered. He's quiet. He's not mild-mannered on a football field, thank goodness.
Ransom will now play in the Shrine Bowl before heading off to college. Notre Dame, North Carolina, Georgia, Clemson, and South Carolina are among those in pursuit of this quiet star with a knockout punch. Tymere Zimmerman from Marlboro County is one of the top wide receivers and defensive backs in South Carolina. Zimmerman has already committed to play at Clemson. His acrobatic catches on Friday nights are already legendary.
Anytime there's a ball that's up in the air, he just goes and gets it. And we've come accustomed to seeing it and gotten used to it. But Tymere is a player that you just, every time he takes the field, you think, what's he going to do today?
When I first started playing football in Marlboro County, I started off as a quarterback. The coach moved me to receiver, and I was playing JV. Our football program wasn't that good when we first started. I know without my team, I know I wouldn't be able to make it this far without line blocking and all that. I just thank them too.
You and Tymere like hang out together?
He says we might as well. Tymere don't like his mom, want his mom to be with nobody. He does.
So he's pretty possessive, huh?
Yeah, he don't want his mom to be with nobody.
Would you say he's a mama's boy? There's nothing wrong with that.
He is a mama's boy. I mean, like I tell people, his first year in school, I worry about how he would survive without me. Because he's a mama boy.
Tymere also has game on the hardwoods. The 6'5" point guard helped the black and gold make it to the 4A state championship game last season for the first time in school history. On the football field, Marlboro County quarterback Savell Newton's favorite target is number 4. Zimmerman has nearly 60 receptions for more than 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. He averages more than 20 yards per catch. He's run for a score this year and has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Tymere is not only a dangerous receiver, he also returns kicks and punts. On defense, Tymere has more than 200 tackles and 25 interceptions over the past 3 years.
I took him to Clemson this summer for camp, and Reggie Herring watched him 2 plays and told Coach Bowden, he said, look, we need him at outside linebacker when he comes up here. Of course, Coach Bowden says you'll never see him on defense, but he'll come up and hit you, and that's the thing that a lot of people are not aware of.
You've got to be aware of where he is every play that he's on the football field. He's the type of athlete that can hurt you at any time, and he's capable of taking over a football game.
With the Zoneman Trophy now up for grabs, Sports Director Rich Krampanis invited Tymere as a live guest on WPDE News Channel 15's Final End Zone show. Here's what Tymere had to say.
You're a finalist in the Zoneman for the Final 3 in Natty. I want you to say something about that.
I think I should win the zone.
Wow.
He's got my vote too, Rich.
Okay, well, the votes are in, and, you know, unlike the election, Coach, there's going to be no recount and no controversy. It's in a sealed envelope, and as you know, I'm the only person who knows who the Zoneman is.
Tymere has enjoyed the tradition at Marlboro County, from rubbing their bulldog statue for good luck to eating pizza before every game. This young man has done it all. 3 straight playoff appearances, capturing a state championship his sophomore season.
It's been a joy to have him around. It's going to be a real depressing time the last time I see him dress out for Marlboro County High School.
Tymere Zimmerman is now headed to the Shrine Bowl.
For our first Zoneman, we couldn't have 3 better representatives. And I think it's interesting to note that we have 2 defensive players in the final 3. How are you guys feeling right now? George Goss, you nervous? I mean, you've been waiting for this. You've known for a few weeks you're a finalist. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty great right now. I'm not that nervous because we have a lot of great players up here, and it's going to be a tough decision to make.
It was a tough decision to make. Tony Ransom, how are you feeling today? I mean, great career with Marion, and now here you are on the big stage representing Marion as a Zoneman finalist.
Well, I'm nervous, man. I just relax and people looking at me, you know. I didn't make a mistake.
Tymere, the waiting's about to end. You're about to find out. How are you feeling right now? Because you've been getting on my case a little bit. You wanted me to let the cat out of the bag.
I'm feeling pretty good knowing I can stand on stage with both of these 2 guys. They're pretty good, just like me, and I'm just ready to know who won.
Okay, the waiting is about to end. When we come back, we will present the first ever Zoneman Trophy winner. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Behind me are the 3 finalists for the Zoneman Trophy. I want to introduce them one more time. From Conway High School, George Goss, Tony Ransom from Marion, and the wide receiver from Marlboro County, Tymere Zimmerman. It was a tight vote. These 3 young men were clearly the Zoneman finalists, and it is my great pleasure to present the 2000 Zoneman Trophy to Tymere Zimmerman of Marlboro County. Tymere, you might be making this kind of speech if you win the Heisman a few years from now, so please, let's hear what you have to say.
I'd like to say thanks to everybody that voted for me. I want to say thanks to them. They gave me a good run for it. We just got to do good. We'll go to the Shrine Bowl, represent South Carolina well. I thank everybody else.
How does it feel to have this big trophy?
It feels good. It feels good they had a trophy, and just got all the nervousness out of it now. I feel much better.
Certainly, Tymere Zimmerman, a well-deserving recipient of the first ever Zoneman Trophy. It has been a fun ride in 2000 in high school football. We leave you tonight with some moments from the 2000 season. For all the great folks behind the scenes at WPDE, I'm Rich Krampanis. We'll see you next season for another edition of the End Zone and the All-Zone team.